Citizen is Mr. Billy Arnold, Sr., and the subject is the county. Mr. Arnold, if you would please give your name and address for the record.
Billy Gene Arnold, Sr., and I'm on your behalf of personal property tax thing.
Okay, sir.
I thought it was a threat at first till I got to digging into the paperwork since 1998. It ain't a threat. But the reason I brought this up to your attention, it's DMV is right on the first line that Mr. Crockett had out there for about my first year of 72 years of paying my taxes. Put this on there, personal property tax. And another thing, while I'm here, here's some papers that some of y'all new ones don't know about. Y'all can go back and get these people that ain't been paying their taxes for years in the state of Virginia, according to my paperwork there. Don't matter if they are not living in a county, with county no more, but y'all got debts that they owe. Y'all can find out through DMV where they're paying, and y'all can make them come back and pay this money. And I think you're a little too harsh on the people that have been paying, and you got people out here living in trailers with farm use tags on their vehicles because they can't pay their county tax, and they're going into centers, and Mr. Moore don't care no more because they're bringing that mail and stuff in out there, and he's making his money, and he ain't pushing it on the people like we used to do back when we had all the old people working at the centers. You went by the code on the fence, or what you went by. They didn't get in there unless they have their proper work. And I think we've been letting that slack off too much.
Okay.
And another thing, while I'm up here for, I like to know, that Mr. Joe Hale built the bathroom down at Max Meadows. And I thought it was a pretty nice building with him doing it. And I go in here this past year and look in there, and our partitions are gone. And any of you ladies or men, if you want to go in and sit down in the bathrooms, and another person over the side of you with not no partition in between, why was this done? That's what I want to know. Why was it done? Because somebody didn't like to work a little bit. The man I think the man done a fine job. And I don't think he should have been tore out because it was good enough. People like me is old enough to live. Mr. McRoberts, Mr. Hale, what about the old bathroom outside what we used to have to go to? And use any kind of paper we had. Think about it. Got things going in with county, but someone's trying to knock it.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Our next citizen is Mr. J.D. Hancock. We'd like to address the group about the Witt County Rescue Squad.
We won't take much of your time this morning.
Mr. Hancock, if you would, for the record, your name and address. Thank you.
I just have to bring by a copy for each of you of our business plans.
Okay, great.
If you guys have any questions or concerns or anything, you know our number and my email.
I'll take this.
And we'd be happy to sit down with your community or anything, just let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock. Our next citizen signed up to speak is Ms. Linda Myers, and it has the subject number 1.
I just have one subject.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Linda Meyer, driver in Speedwell. I'm here to address you concerning the Virginia Association of Counties. I've been following them for the past year, and last year you gave $15,000 to the National Organization of Counties, and I don't recall how much money was appropriated for the Virginia Association. However, I'm a little bit upset about their agenda. They've been supporting progressive legislation. The organization is working against preserving eminent, they support preserving eminent domain authority of local government. They're supporting expanded local tax and fee authority. They're supporting Agenda 21 initiatives in the General Assembly. They are supporting the relaxation of the Dillon Rule, which limits local governments, and so on. I think Mr. Daniels is on their committee. I don't know if he's bringing this information back to you, but we are in a budget process. I think Wood County should either contact them and tell them that we're doing a fine job here, and we need them to support freedom and liberty. We don't need them to be supporting all these sustainable initiatives. For some reason, we're being duped into thinking that we're ruining the planet. The government owns 650 million acres of land in the United States. We're being brainwashed into thinking that we're hurting absolutely everything, and we are not. Farmers and most everybody have been generally good stewards of land and so on. We do not need all this encroachment on our freedoms and our liberties. So if you guys could look into that, it would really, really be appreciated, because this Virginia Association doesn't seem to be doing the citizens as much good as they should be.
And Ms. Myers will make sure that, that Mr. McDaniel, I know he's absent, but has all this information. We'll talk about it so that he can address anything.
Right, and I'm sure the public would be interested in this information to be funneled down to them also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our final speaker for Citizens Time is Ms. Donna Jackson, and she's from the Sheffy PTA. And of course, the subject says thank you, but I don't know what that means.
My name is Donna Jackson, 709 Painters Mine Road, Memphis, Virginia. Yes, sir. I just want to take time to thank you for coming to Sheffy Elementary School, as well as all the schools, and actually touring it, and for taking me seriously when I came before this board over a year ago with concerns. I had sent pictures with a letter about a particular problem in the bathroom. I met with Mr. Dalton yesterday. Extensively, he took, I want to thank you, Mr. Dalton, for that time. And I think I have it clear as to how the two boards work, so I'll go back to the board of supervisors.
School board.
School board,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. I am too.
The school board. But I would appreciate your influence as I friend when he meets with you. I think that Mr. McRoberts and I, he's had to listen to me a lot. The food is down in the bathroom, and that lower part of the hall, where it was built in 1950s, that really needs to be taken care of. And I'll just return back to the school board. He also shared with me the potential plans that you have for the renovations of Sheffy and the other schools that will be tagged with Sheffy. And I appreciate your wisdom as of waiting for the bids and waiting for the blueprints and the actual numbers as to what needs to be obtained. And if I can help, I don't want to go to Richmond or Washington and beg or take my picture. So if I could be of any help, please let me know. But thank you so much for taking the time out.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jackson. Before Ms. Jackson sits in, could you give us an update on the water line in Jackson? I know that, she's talking about Sheffy, but...
It's currently being designed by Pentry Engineer, signed the contract. The county authorized that contract. It should be finished in a couple of months.
Okay.
We're looking for additional funds to build.
Thank you. And I do have the pictures and the letter. I'm going to hand those to Mr. Hall, and so that as the meeting goes along, they can scan over the pictures, and we'll keep them here so that people can look at them in more depth. But we have, visited, as you know.
Yes, sir, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot as a parent and somebody who represents parents.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Our next item of business, since those were the only citizens that had signed up for citizen time, is the minutes of the, are the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, April the 10th. So I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented from April the 10th, 2012, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Then those minutes are approved. The next item of business is payment of the invoices. Again, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we pay the bills.
There's a motion that we pay the invoices. Is there a second? It's been seconded. Any discussion? Any items of concern? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Hall?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. And aye. Passes 6-0 with one absent. Next item of business is unfinished business, and that is to set some work session dates for the budget. And so, Mr. Dalton, do you have any suggestions for those dates, or when do we need to do it by?
Well, the school board will meet tomorrow morning to discuss their revised budget and submit to the county. I will be in Richmond with the DSS director tomorrow. We call for the governor to come in for a session at social services tomorrow. Thursday, Friday, next Monday, in the afternoon, in the evening, it doesn't make any difference. When y'all have a clear calendar.
I can't do it Thursday. Friday works for me.
Okay, is there a time that's better for you?
Anything after 9 o'clock.
What does Friday look like for everybody else?
Fine with me. The morning or the afternoon?
I know that I think that Mr. McDaniel is subbing at an elementary school, so probably if we could do it in the afternoon, would maybe around 2 o'clock. Would that be be what?
Doesn't matter. Well, that's fine with me.
If I can find a sub.
Do what?
If I can find a sub.
Well, is there other times that we can make it earlier? Mr. McDaniel can make some arrangements.
You want to try to do it? How long are we looking at? Are we looking at 8 hours?
3 or 4, it takes the superintendent probably 45 minutes, an hour after we get it revised, ask the questions we need to ask. The state budget was adopted last week. My understanding, they got a few $100,000 additional money.
Well, then if we will take that for that long, maybe we can just go ahead and do it in the morning. You said after 9?
Yeah.
Would 9 o'clock be okay?
Danny's close to Danny had an elementary thing.
I think that, yeah, we can just, talk to him when he gets back and see if he can make some arrangements. I think there's enough time that they can find, somebody else maybe. And I don't think that he'll object. So.
I mean, I would say that 2 o'clock's fine, but my sub that I normally get, I'm pretty sure he's driving for somebody else Friday.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, if it's gonna take, 3 or 4 hours, if we, start it,
That'll work.
later, that will, that will be kind of late. So Friday, this Friday morning at 9 o'clock. And with that work session, of course, we will have another presentation, you said, from Dr. Brandon from the school board, so he will present the budget that they have adopted. Okay. All right, second item of business.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I forgot, the superintendent of school was out of town Thursday and Friday with he's got a wedding, his daughter's getting married.
I don't think he's gonna be here Friday.
No.
What if we set it for Monday, at 9 o'clock? Because somebody said, Gene, you couldn't do it Thursday. And if, Dr. Brandon can't be here, Thursday or Friday, Monday at 9, was that one of the potential dates that you gave?
That's fine. I think he'll be here, we'll give him the last part of the meeting, the rest of the budget first.
Okay. All right, so, Monday, and that is April the 30th. Okay, we'll make that, work session for the budget on Monday, April the 30th, at 9 o'clock here at the boardroom. Anything else on the budget work session? If not, then we'll move down to setting a work session date for the property maintenance ordinance, and if it's acceptable, I'd like to make a suggestion. We have two things that we need to look at. One is the property maintenance ordinance, and the other is the subdivision ordinance, and I think that I would like to suggest that once we set a work session for that, we do both of those, at the same time. I don't think that we need to, come, two different times. Mr. Dalton, again, I'll turn to you. Do you have any suggestions as to a date?
The only days that are bad are tomorrow, and I'm gonna be on vacation next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
How about tonight? Well, that's after another meeting.
So you're looking at the first of May sometime? I mean, I think that would be okay. There's not anything that's, that's time sensitive in this like it is with the budget. So if we, looked at the early May sometime, I think that would be appropriate too.
Yeah, May 9th works for me.
Do what?
I think that May 9th, like that.
Yeah, well, I thought, did you say that there was another meeting?
That's after the next board meeting.
Oh, okay, okay. May the 9th, what day is that, Tim?
Wednesday.
On Wednesday? Okay, is that date acceptable? Again, could we make that if it's, just us, would you like to make it earlier than 9? Or,
That would work anytime, we can do it at 8.
okay, it's 8
I
o'clock?
don't know, we got Gene there.
Oh, okay. Gene, you want us to, we can, of course, the late time after you drive the bus that day. Make it at 9:30.
That would be better, but I mean, as long as I can find a driver, I don't mind taking the day off.
Well, that's, I think that's okay. You can make it by 9:30?
I can be here by 9 or shortly after, so go ahead and set it for 9.
Okay, all right, then, we'll look at Wednesday, May the 9th, at 9 o'clock. And at that time, we'll have a work session on the property maintenance ordinance and on the subdivision ordinance. So if you become, prepared to discuss, both of those.
One of the things on the property maintenance order, we will have copies of all the surrounding county ordinances prior to that meeting, so you can compare to what's been proposed here.
Okay, and I'm trying to remember, have we, I know that we've been given maybe the proposed subdivision ordinance. I don't know if everybody still has their copy. We may need another copy of that too. I think the property maintenance ordinance is, pretty easy for us just to, to have a call up, but it's just a couple of pages, so if you maybe could include both of those in a packet to each board member. Okay? Any other discussion about those dates? The next order of business is fire and rescue updates, and we have some information about fire and rescue background check summary, and you can see that as of April the 20th, your packet on page 32, that some of the fire departments have completed both the criminal background check and the roster, and some have done partial, and some have not turned the roster in, and that's the situation that we're in right now. Mr. Dalton, is there any other information we need to know about that right now?
I guess the staff is what kind of direction we need to give this additional level of visits to the chiefs, or what do you want us to do to kind of handle these rosters and additional information?
Does any board member have any suggestions?
Do we know what their intents are? I mean, is there a reason they haven't turned them in?
Have we done anything other than that at this time, requesting? We probably need a phone call, I think, to the chiefs would be my recommendation.
Okay, the recommendation is to contact the chiefs directly, and to tell them that this has got to come in now.
Right.
Is that action agreeable?
Give them till the next meeting, or?
I think that's plenty of time.
You mean till the next?
Officers probably already, I would imagine they've already got the roster.
You're talking about to the next board meeting,
Yeah.
which is May 8th? Okay. And at May 8th, then I would suggest that if they have not complied, then we need to be thinking about what the next steps are. Because I'm not sure that we can just keep letting it go on. We've given them one deadline. So by next meeting, if they have not complied, again, I would suggest that we be prepared to talk about, our next action. Is there any other discussion about fire and rescue background check and something?
We did have a problem, the criminal history background checks. The sheriff can no longer do it for free. The state police, I understand from Mr. Davidson, now we're going to charge us $35 per person. We're going to actually pay for that. I understand that from Mr. Davidson, that they do that at no cost. We can't. There's a copy of the form that's
Good.
Is each fire department member going to have to fill out one of these?
Yes.
Yes.
So then, in effect, we will not be charged.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion about fire and rescue background check something?
Should we, I know it says $15 criminal history search. Should we attach a note to it when you pass it out to the volunteers that they know there's no charge for this?
By the memo, please complete, no charges. Turn by maybe.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this board enacted a resolution and you set a time. With your experience as an educator and administrator, these continuances of issues that we felt like were strong enough to take action on, I think that continuing to drag it out no response from the people that you've asked for, or inadequate response, reflects on inactivity by the board as a whole. And if we put it past the next board meeting, this thing then has become a 2-month schedule instead of the 1-month schedule that was originally enacted. And I take exception to that.
Well, Ms. Bell, do you have a suggestion as to, another course of action? I mean, I think the board is open.
Well, how did we come up with doing it after the next board meeting? What was the logic in that?
Well, I don't know, Gene, you suggested, give them until the next.
I was just asking if that was the date. I mean, I didn't know if we wanted to give them until then, or give them till the 1st of May. I mean, because we gave them, originally it was the 1st of April. So, I mean, I didn't know if we were going to do it.
So, let me recognize Mr. Don.
I think the logic, or my logic, I didn't question Mr. Horning, but we now have a new form that everybody's got to get. It's a different form that we had to fill out for criminal matter. You have to give them adequate time to fill out the new form, Joe, I believe. I mean, we had our own form that we've done through the sheriff's office. This new form is for the state police. That's the only form they'll accept. And whether that was, we always used our form, but this form now, the form you have to use to get that information.
Is this form due at the time of printing, or is it?
I would suggest that y'all meet earlier, invite them at a 6 o'clock or 5:30 meeting on May the 8th, and let them have it delivered that day. That's a concern.
Well, all these actions are concerned now when we do things and let them drag on. When you make a decision, I think you need a timeline and you need action and get it done and move on. And all these things we've been talking about since January are being either delayed or drug out, and this was one I thought we were going to be able to move because we set a deadline. And then obviously the deadline didn't mean anything because now it's 2 months and we're going to add more time.
Well, Michelle, I don't disagree with you. I do see the logic in, to keep us from, our volunteers from having to pay and us having to reimburse and things like that, if the state police will do it on this form, and do it, for free. The previous forms that we have are no good. Even if they have turned them in, they'll still have to, to redo this. This gives them some time, and I do like the idea of having them come in, and they are due that day to be hand delivered. Would that be acceptable?
I agree with you, Gary, that we've changed the forms, but I mean, the thing is, they were supposed to turn the forms into us by the 1st, so I can see Joe's point too. I mean, if they haven't turned them in yet, what's their intentions? Do they intend to turn them in, or are they just saying, we're not gonna do whatever the board tells us to do, y'all can't make us do it?
Well, and I agree with that point. However, just simply because of the circumstances and the charge involved by, just by default, they've got to fill out another form. So if we give them a little extra time, Mr. McGraw?
Is this the form that you presented to them the other night when you were in Atlanta?
Can I address it?
Yes, Mr. Davidson, please do.
Members of the board, we had the form filled out, and I went, and these things have to be notarized. So I made an attempt to go to Iowa to get the forms filled out. 5 people showed up. I was there for almost an hour and a half to get these forms done. And they paid them out. They didn't show up to get them done. These forms also need to be filled out. These forms have to be filled out right, or they will charge. They stressed that, and I talked to the resident yesterday. Went down and met with the first sergeant, we called yesterday. And he called Richmond, I come back to the office to give him the names of the people to get this form filled out. It has to be done right. If it's not done right, they're gonna charge. My plan was to meet these people at the department at night, whenever we can, get the forms done. And the ones that don't do them then, let's figure out what we're gonna do, and I've heard comments about that. We ain't doing it, so. Get it filled out, get it notarized, I'll notarize their signature right there when they do it. Then I'll come back, get Ms. Collins to notarize my signature, and get the forms faxed in, and we can get them done. But if you see down on the method of payment, on the bottom there, halfway down the form, we don't put Virginia State Police account number there. If I don't state volunteer fire, volunteer rescue, they will charge. The top of the form has to be filled out a certain way. I'll work to get the forms done. Give me a deadline when it needs to be done.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, do they still have to have a fingerprint card and 10 digits?
No. They don't.
Okay.
What kind of a timeline are you saying we need to get them?
I would set Pager's out, deadlines are supposed to be doing, deadline for rescue is supposed to be doing Thursday night. I told them to hold off after this meeting, I'll call them, tell them what comes out of this meeting. I can't get there tonight, I've been in Bluefield tonight. As soon as we can set a meeting up with them, I'll get it done. Talked to Dave Morris, Max Meadows Fire last night, told him we were going to have to redo his forms. He doesn't have a problem with getting them done. He said it'd probably take a week to get all those people down there and get them done. I can type the information in this form that has to be in order to be done right as far as volunteer fire and rescue goes. Then the top part is very simple. The only thing, somebody has to be able to notarize it, and that was one of the problems, is having a problem getting the notary there.
So, Mr. Davis, you're notary? I
Yes.
didn't realize that.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, now, Whipple and Rural Retreat, now, I got a letter, I've talked to them that says the town does background checks on them.
And I checked with the county yesterday because state police said the town can do them, the county can't do them because they use a third party to do theirs. We had it worked out, state police, get it done. My suggestion, let's do all of them, and that way we've got a set way we're doing things. We're going to do Roy Creek too, because probably Roy Creek will not be able in the future to do those.
Have you talked to Dave?
Not yet, because all this kind of come up pretty quick when I went and turned the forms that we had in to the sheriff's department last week. And that's when all this started happening.
So what kind of timeline, I mean, are you gonna go to each firehouse and set the pagers off and try to get this done within a week?
I would say by the 1st of May, let's get the 1st of May, because it's a lot of people's plans scheduled to get in the meetings and stuff. We'll get it done.
Are they, I'm gonna ask you this question, I don't know if you know that, are they trying to comply with the resolutions that we passed?
No. I have a couple of members says that they're not going to do it, period. And I have that part, the department's almost done, and they did not fill it out.
Well, Mr. Davidson, can you, over the next few days, as you set up these schedules, provide the board by email with a timeline schedule of when you're going to, meet with each of the fire departments?
Yes.
Okay, if you could do that so that we would know that too. And now,
Well, if we give them till our next board meeting, I mean, will that give you plenty of time?
next board meeting is May 8th.
May 8th,
May 1st is 1 week.
I think.
I mean, he's got, what, there's
I think
six or seven fire departments 3 rescue squads. If he does one a night,
That sounded pretty industrious for one.
I know we have to do one.
yeah, I know.
But now, probably he would.
And I know Burn Springs wanna do theirs on Saturday, they usually have a meeting on Saturday. I don't have a problem going down on Saturday and getting dirty, no rides to finish. The only problem I have in the next 2 weeks, I'm not gonna be in town on Saturday. And I may be able to run down there before I leave this Saturday.
Well, I mean, what I was thinking was if we give them a deadline of our next board meeting, that should give Ike time to do it. If he can't set up something with them, we can do it like we did last time, and let them come in here and fill them out.
And we made arrangements here with, Rhonda, they can come in, pick a form up here with Rhonda, sign it, she knows.
No rises.
She can notarize it and get it done. And that's worked for several of them, they come here and we pick them up that way.
So we still want to have them hand delivered to us, the afternoon for our next meeting, and I'm assuming that if we don't have a card for them, then they are removed from the roster until they comply.
I suggest that, I like to see that it's at least done a day prior to our next board meeting, where the county administrator can have a recommendation for us of what action we need to take.
You're talking about hand delivered, I mean, my thinking is, I mean, there's personal information on these, so if Ike goes somewhere and fills them out, then Ike needs to keep them.
So then we just make sure that we have all of them but again, as per our resolution, am I wrong, if they do not comply with this, then they're removed from the roster until they do comply. Is that not the way that I see it? Is there a disagreement with that?
I don't know that it's actually in there, what the penalty would be, but I mean,
Well, it says
but
that-
that would kind of be my idea behind it.
Well, it says that they have to do a criminal background check. If they do not do a criminal background check, I think just simply by default, they would not be on the roster. Am I reading that wrong?
So what are we gonna do about the people that's still showing up at the meetings?
Well, as far as showing up at the meetings, I'm not sure, what we can do about that, although they, I suppose that we can take some action if they show up at a fire.
I think, can you pull up that resolution, Mr. Dahl? I thought the resolution said that the county administrator would take appropriate action. I might have that wrong, but I think the policy of this board is to set policy and let the staff enforce that policy. And so far, I'm not real confident we've done that. We've set a time, we said this is what's going to happen. It hasn't happened. Mr. Davis says that with that first form, they didn't fill it out. Some said they weren't going to fill it out. They're in violation or disregard to the resolution. So a new form is going to be the same track. The ones that are going to do it are going to do it, and the ones that are not going to do it are not going to do it. So, but where are we in just draining more and more time because the same ones are not going to comply?
Well, that's why I said that I thought that if they did not comply as per our resolution, they're not, we do set policy, but they are not abiding by our policy.
They're not in compliance.
They're not in compliance, right? But if we, to get this done, if we give them until, the day before the next meeting, then I think that's plenty of time, and, whatever, appropriate action then the board, deems to take. All right, is it agreed that Mr. Davidson will set up a meeting with the fire departments, send us by email a schedule of those meetings to be completed before our next meeting? Then we will invite the fire chiefs in on
8 at 6.
at 6 o'clock, or do we want to make it 5?
That's next about, we got a 6 o'clock public hearing.
Okay, so we would invite them in at 5 o'clock, and if anybody is not in compliance at that time, we will address it, then. But I agree with Mr. Hale, this needs to be the final meeting about it. Any other discussion about it? Mr. Davis, thank you. Our next agenda item is budget amendment. And I understand that someone from the Building and Grounds would make this as a motion.
Mr. Hale, Mr. Roberts, Building Grounds previously, we discussed putting a underground septic system in at the new Rescue Fire Department building. You have before you the cost of that septic system, and also the other items we've had to pay. Permit.
Yeah, that cost looks in order to me. I'd make a motion it was funded.
Okay, is there a second to that? All right, the amendment is to, the budget amendment is to please amend and appropriate $4,000 to the Fort Chisholm Emergency Services Building for the septic system and electricity. Any discussion?
One discussion item. What's the timeline to get this done and occupy that building?
We've already issued the PO, I believe. As soon as the guy puts the septic tank in the building, it's ready to occupy.
Are the departments ready to occupy? That means we're ready and the building's ready, or we're going to get some equipment over there.
As far as I know from the lead mines rescue people, they're ready to move their vehicles over there. Today, we tell them to move in.
I think they've already moved into the parking lot occasionally. One of them told me, he said he went up there and set the parking lot, but couldn't get in.
All right, any other discussion? Well, hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Gene?
Aye.
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 And aye. 6-4, 1 absent. The next item is Comlink, and I understand that this is just a report and information about the interoperability capacity during an emergency situation, that there's no action.
We received, I think, a grant was obtained, and all these counties are interactive now on communication. States and everybody else can communicate back and forth between themselves and the state police, anybody else they want to talk to.
And those counties are listed somewhere, on page 41, yeah, of the agenda, if you're interested in that. So there's a wide range out in Southwest Virginia, so we have interoperability with all of those, including the state police. Again, that's just informational, unless anybody has anything to say that, okay? The other is, a CAD incident detail, and that, again, is just for information. There's no action to be taken on that, but it's just to give the board a little more background. Any discussion about that? Then we come to other. Is there any other? Unfinished. No one else has any unfinished business? All right, then our next order of business our reports. First up, we have Mr. Sam Crockett, the treasurer.
Morning, Jim.
Morning.
Got an updated revenue statement for you this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Back to what Mr. Hale was talking about, our Arnold meeting is first. I sent out delinquent notices, and I'm required by law to put on the, notify people if they don't pay, if I take just legal action, which is DOD stops and warrant deaths, which we do. I have to notify the people prior to doing that, and that's what he was upset about. We mailed out about 1,400 delinquent notices the other day, so, you know, it's just our standard procedure that we do in the office. And he, I guess it's the first time he ever got one, he was awful upset. I mean, I was in a meeting yesterday, you know, the meeting center all day with the Treasury Association, and I got a call, Andy B's office, they called, wanting to know by what authority. We were just going over that in our meeting. I thought it was kind of ironic, that's what we were just discussing with the attorney for the Treasury Association. But I guess he got his information, he was still upset about it.
Well, Mr. Crockett, we appreciate you doing that, and also we understand that anytime anybody gets, you know, anything like that in the mail, you know, certainly they'll, not be happy.
Well, there'll be a lot of them unhappy.
I understand.
Yeah, but anyway, back to our treasurer's report, our consolidated account report, we have $57,489,000 in that report. Our general fund balance is, in the April meeting, is $31,900,000. And the new revenue statement that I passed out to you, it has our collections. Currently, we've collected $17,350,000 worth of taxes for the 6 taxes that we did this year. And luckily, we exceeded our budget a little over $491,000. And the amount of delinquent taxes collected during the sticker season, that last page that's stuck on there for you, just went back like 9 years, show you. Give you an idea how much we collected about each delinquent tax period, that 45-day period. You know, this year we collected $585,000 worth of delinquent tax. So, to me, that's, you know, people fuss about decals, and that's why I say to keep them, because in that period, it brings in a lot of tax dollars. You know, and some people in that same period, you know, I can't attribute it all to decals, a lot of people have to wait to get their state their tax refund, but it all falls in that period, but it's still a good tool. So,
But that's, the gentleman that was here, it was on his sticker information, wasn't it?
yes. That's what he got on the second notice, it's like, and then the stickers, on the sticker forms that we do mail out now, we have on there what taxes due. But I don't have on there the warrant debt stuff, which I'm going to do next year on the back, you know, and that way it'll save one mailing, and that's what I'm trying to do, is save money, and so it'll save this extra mailing we have to do, because we're going to put it on the back. One of the people that mail to then is Town of Whistlewood and Town of Retreat citizens, so it'll cut down some places next year. Anybody else got any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Crockett?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sheriff Doug King.
Morning, all.
Good morning.
Have 3 items for you. One, the budget committee has the Burn Memorial Grant to be approved today. We're going to be using that standard police equipment like we had the last 2 times we received it. We're going to be replacing our service weapon with that money. Rather than doing it all at one time, we're phasing out the service weapon to be used. But it's all I did receive a notification from the forestry departments, did not receive it in time enough for y'all to have today. There'll be something for the next meeting. But I know this will be near and dear to Mr. Hale's heart. I mean, considering that the discussions that we've had in many spots on this, you're going to give us $2,500 for surveillance cameras. And their suggestion, and not a demand, but their suggestion is that these be used on illegal dump sites in the forested areas, which is the problems we're having. So we'll be doing research on cameras that will illuminate the area without a flash and without the standard infrared red panel. There is a company now that's making an invisible light, invisible to the human eye, that will take photographs of people doing illegal dump. Hopefully it won't overpower the camera where we can still read the tag or be able to identify the person or persons making the dump. So, the last thing is, I know on everybody's mind, it's been on my mind a lot, is the fine diversion. The conferees, it was originally proposed that there be a 30% threshold. Conferees between the House and Senate came up with a 40% threshold, which means anything over 40% of the total in revenue generated by traffic fines, they would claim 50% of the excess of 40. Now, the Virginia Municipal League, the Sheriff's Association, are going to be meeting with Governor McDonald about this, to get rid of it, which I doubt will happen, or to raise it to 50%. If it's raised to 50%, we will not be affected. Right now, our total is 44.4%, according to the last figures that I have to be in that, which means that 4.4%, they would take half of that, which under their formula would be about $66,000. However, during all my efforts to fight this thing, I've discovered through two reputable sources that this was Governor McDonald's idea to start with. So I feel like there will be no action that will benefit us personally. But I'll fix it later.
To me, I know that the governor set a task force earlier in the year to look at unfunded mandates, which really didn't amount to a whole lot, I don't think. But yet to me, there's unfunded mandates in reverse.
They're reaching down and taking.
Right. So
this is mandated funding.
well, but whatever it is, it certainly does not fall into the spirit of unfunded mandates. Doing
The
away with
other
it.
part of the language of the bill or the amendment is passed, mentioned fees, which I've also communicated to the governor, and BML and the Sheriff's Association are going to be communicating with them as well. They did not define the fees, so we don't know really what they have in mind. We fund all of our courthouse security through fees that have been passed by the resolution of the board. Collect a fee on each guilty finding in court that they're required to pay a courthouse security fee. specifically, and that's the most frightening part of all of it. You also have a library fee in there, you also have a courthouse construction fee in there. Don't know if they're going to plan on going after those as well. Mr. Dalton may have some information on, I'm not sure.
Now, they're a secretive bunch down there,
Yes.
until they spring it on, that's what I'm thinking.
The fees were not mentioned in their original communications to us.
So when will all this be finalized? Do we have any idea?
If the governor vetoes that particular line item, it'll have to go to the veto session of the General Assembly.
So you're saying he's not likely to veto?
The indications that I'm getting from the legislators that I've talked to, as well as others, it's not likely to veto.
The fear is that the word fees, if it remains in the legislation, will allow part of the treasury to go after fees administratively without that being a direct action of the General Assembly. So that word, that generalization of fees, I'd be scared.
I'm very frightened. $66,000 first in my budget. If they go after fees, what kind of security fees, law library fees, courthouse construction fees. Somebody has basically just given them permission to draw all they feel they need out of local funds. Just a plan,
Well, Sheriff,
General Assembly stuff.
in your opinion, is there anything else that, that we as a board, can do or need to
To
do?
be perfectly frank with you, considering all the, correspondence that's taken place, I really don't think so, to be perfectly frank with you. I believe it's all going to be on the desk of the government, kind of decision made there.
Even the request that they raise it to 50%, the government,
That's the request that's on the table right now.
you think
You
it,
can veto it, or put it at 50%, which is
and you don't think if we send a letter,
it couldn't hurt.
requesting,
If you did that, it
Consider.
couldn't hurt. Now, what effect I have on it, I cannot predict. I know they've heard a lot from local governments, because this just does not affect only the sheriff's office. This is also town and city police department, which is the reason that Virginia Municipal League is involved so heavily in these negotiations. So,
Well, Mr. Rich,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we do at least send a letter that requests them, to reconsider it, and if not to reconsider it, to at least consider making it 50%.
make it 50% or not make it 50%? Make it 50%, okay.
That
All
would
right.
eliminate us from
Okay,
We need to ask them to define fees.
I've asked them to define fees, and I've yet to get an answer.
And you carry a gun. I said, and you carry a gun.
We've been dealing with the state police on that.
They carry bigger guns, so.
Mr. Reeves, if you would you restate that for the, for the board, so, as a motion, so we can get a second?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we send a letter to the governor's office, to the governor, requesting them to reconsider, this bill, and to, if not, consider vetoing it, amend it to 50%.
Okay. All right.
Second that motion.
There's a second to that. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. So if, Mr. Dalton, we could direct you to put a letter together. Okay,
I have a question for the church.
okay.
Could you give us a brief report on the soliciting ordinance, and is it being
So far,
enforced?
it appears to be fairly successful. Personal observation, we've only had one complaint that I'm aware of since the solicitation thing started. Apparently, they have a pretty good intelligence network between the thumbs. And I use that term loosely, as far as what's going on in this county. The deputies are under orders that there be no warning or something, that they be cited immediately. And if they continue to do so, to be cited again and arrested for failing to obey the summons.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff? Sheriff, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Commissioner of Revenue, Spade Barker. Do you have anything, Ms. Barker?
Y'all probably gonna get tired of hearing about reassessment.
No, it's always a joy.
So far, I haven't heard anything from Mr. Hickey or anything, and we can't get our work done. Our real estate, until it's got done onto our computers or onto their computer, whatever they're gonna do. So far, I haven't heard anything. But, if it gets any later, y'all might have to discuss a later collection date, because if we can't get our work done, we can't get stuff to, Sam's office to get the taxes out.
Mr. Dalton, have you been in contact with Mr. Hickey?
We sent a letter, he showed up to the Board of Equalization last week. We'd also asked him to set up a training meeting, which he has to respond. And we've asked for information. I suggested that the county attorney write a letter. So we're withholding. We haven't paid him for a long time. But he needs to come meet with us and set up a training date and discussion.
And my problem with that is, it's so late now. And after I talked to the commissioners and the counties, what we're doing is maintaining their computer system for them to do the work the next time. We have to maintain our computer system that we have now on top of their computer system, because the tax book has to be printed from what we have currently. It's not printed off. The only thing we're doing is maintaining the records for the next reassessment, if the county ever use them. And I hope it's not ever done.
Mr. Dalton suggested that the county attorney write a letter to Mr. Hickey, telling him that he has to set up the training session. Is there any objections to that from the board? So just by consent, then we'll ask Mr. Farley to do that.
Well, a couple things, the training session plus the data, there's, internally, I think it's okay versus talking to their computer. If they don't comply with the contract that we currently have, which was a different kind of new program, then what we want is the data, that we'll just dump the data back into the old program that we have.
The raw data.
Raw data, and maintain that. So it takes a little bit of work for that. After talking to our computer people, we feel confident when we get that raw data, we can do it. But there's some conditions in the contract, what type of computer program and information we can be able to gather. We just still, I guess we've got a piece of hardware, but no software or anything else.
But, I still don't understand why we have to maintain their records just for them. I mean, to me, that's all it is, on the computer program that they want. And we're paying them to use it. We're paying them for us to keep their records for the next reassessment. That's the way I understand it, so.
Now, when we're talking about this training, are we talking about training on their computer system? Is that what the training is?
That's part of the contract, and the program they were to provide was an updated program in our contract that was better than what they provided Washington County. We just need to get a new, matter of fact, we've never actually signed that agreement. Because, just based on past history, you've got to see it before you sign it with that group.
So it hasn't been signed.
No, not the program agreement.
So we don't have to adopt that program?
So, the letter that you sent, Mr. Farley was send, can you just kind of give us a summary
The
as
summary is going to say, we need you here, we need to bring your software people, we need to see the program that you promised. We need a copy of the raw data.
Okay.
And we want to talk about whether we're going to pay you or not.
I've talked to Roz, the computer program, and she is willing to give us all of the codes and everything to be able to run it in our system that we have.
Now, the computer person for who?
For Dave Hickey.
Okay.
For the Ridge.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
In this system, it's no benefit to us
I
whatsoever.
can't say that it is, because the only thing that, when I talked to the other counties, all the credits, the land book, everything has to be printed off of our system that we have currently. The only thing that we're doing with the camera system, which is the system that they are using, that Blue Ridge is using, is maintaining the records for the next reassessment.
So really, it doesn't have no benefit to us.
I can't see it, but, I mean,
The raw data is more beneficial to us.
overall, that is really beneficial. But like I said, you know, something needs to be done in a hurry, because
Okay.
we can't get anything done on real estate at all.
And I think we can ask Mr. Farley to put that sense of urgency in that letter too.
And I, you know, as far as I'm concerned, we've, you know, we've dealt with them long enough now, but it's time for them to do something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Barber?
I have one about the contract. Was there timelines and completion dates in Blue Ridge's contract?
It was, excuse me, I believe, without having it in front of me, their completion date is December 31st, 2011.
They've already wrote the contract.
That's the way I feel about it.
Well, the board doesn't need to empower you to play hardball with these people, but how much money are we talking about in retainage? Is it enough to get their attention or not?
I would assume we still owe them about, $40,000, $50,000. About 20% of their total contract.
Ought to get their attention then.
Get mine.
Sure get my attention now, I'm gonna
Okay, if nothing else about that, we'll move on to reports from Board of Supervisors, and we'll start with Mr. Hall and West Whitfield.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hill?
Well, we had a flood of road complaints and cat complaints, and I don't have any water complaints, that's your department, but I put off all the road complaints until next meeting when VDOT's gonna be here, we can go over them at that time. The Ramsey Mountain Road Bridge is open, and they're getting ready to do the Pepper's Ferry Road. The signs is already up to close that bridge, and that's supposed to be a quick slide-on job. The bridge comes on a truck. I had contact with Ms. White, and had talked to her about the bridge job at Draper Valley at Plaza. And VDOT's made a proposal that's not happy to her. They want to close it for June July, August, September, wasn't it? And I advised her to give them a counter proposal that she could do better if they closed in August and September. But I just wonder if the board needs to write another letter to them, since the last one seemed to have helped, reinforcing her position that she would get 2 months out of her summer, or 3 months out of her summer with the one she's proposing, and it seems like a viable compromise. They have shortened up on the time. Instead of it being a 6-month job, it's now going to be a 3-month job. So, she's appreciative of the board's effort, but VDOT still wants to start the job June 1 or something like that. So, you talked to her, can you add anything to that?
No, I think she would be very happy to compromise if the board could support her request that they delay the closing until August the 1st. And they could close it August, September, October, November, whatever they need. That would get the first part of the summer business, half of it.
Mr. Hill, would you like to make that as a motion?
Yes, request for a motion to write that letter, reinforcing our support of the compromise.
To not close the bridge until August 4th.
I second that motion.
Okay, there's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about that? If not, then, we'll just call for a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Passes 6-0 with one absent. Mr. Hale, do you have anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Mr. McRoberts?
I did attend the school board meeting, and there, I guess they don't like this, they didn't know how much money they were gonna get. And I talked to Dr. Brandon this morning, I think he was at Mr. Hall. Mr. Reeves and I attended the Austinville Senior Citizens meeting last Thursday. We had a wonderful time. And I also got to tour Bertha Farms, which I had been on with Mr. Dalton last week, and I believe some of them are here today. So we can let them say their piece. And I also have one of the boys in the convenience center said that they had gotten a letter that they were not to take any more trash from the firefighters out of Carroll County. After May 1st.
Actually, our ordinance says we will not accept out of county trash. My understanding, the firefighters in question, I don't know how to track this, but they have a sticker on, which I understand they've been provided. I don't know how we're gonna ask anybody, where'd you get the sticker? So if they've got the sticker on their car, I don't see how we can enforce anything.
So if we got a sticker, take the trash. I'd rather have a trash than I'd have it laying on the side of the road.
I agree.
That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Horn?
I cannot think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay, Mr. Reeves?
I had a complaint about a citizen down on President Jackson Road, a bear problem that had tore into his outbuilding and then tried to push in his back door. I talked to the sheriff about it, and I give it to dispatch, and they're calling game in the fisheries and see if we can get something done about that. Me and Supervisor Horny, Gene, are going to have a town hall meeting in Speedville at the elementary school in the gym on May the 2nd at 6 o'clock. It will be announced in the paper and on the radio. Anybody from the Speedwell district, if you know anybody, please advise them. Like to get as many people there as we can to talk to them.
About any particular subject or anything?
It's just, they can talk about anything.
Okay. Okay. All right, anything else, Mr. Reeves?
Well, we did have some people that come in after citizens' time. I would like to give them a chance, if they have an opportunity, would like to address the board.
Well, I think are they here probably about the road?
Mhm.
Okay, that's an agenda item later on. Yeah. As far as, Blackfoot District and the Roy Treat area, one thing that I will tell you all in our budget work session, I spoke with Ms. Donna Dix from the Retreat Youth League, and the Retreat Youth League is very much opposed to the proposal that Mr. Cody has made, that the county take over all the youth leagues and increase the registration fee and that sort of thing. The Retreat Youth League is an incorporated organization, and they are doing well financially, and they're providing. They feel that they're providing safe and attractive uniforms for their for their students, as well as trained coaches and that sort of thing. And they really wish to be left alone. And so we'll bring that up again during our budget sessions. Also provide everybody some bulleted items or talking points that discuss this. Anything else from any supervisors? Okay. Then moving on to, I'm sorry?
If I may, since we have a large delegation, they may, if you'd like to rearrange the agenda, allow them to speak.
We can certainly do that. New business, it's under new business, Bertha Farms and Rocky Road. If you would like to look at that, that begins on page 99 of your packet, and it's a letter to Wood County Board of Supervisors from the residents of Bertha Farms and Rocky Road, and it's regarding the repair and maintenance of the road. And at this time, if someone from the group would like to address the board, certainly would entertain that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you all for allowing us to take a bit of your time today. I'm assuming that you all have a copy of the memo. Just to reiterate a little bit, our community, there are 20 residents or more in our community, and the road going into Bertha Farm has become quite treacherous. We do have 2 residents who, on occasion, will come and scrape the road, but it does not take long after weather for it to become quite bumpy again. I believe that some of the members of the board have visited the area most recently and have now have a better idea of what the road looks like. I do want to say that when you all did visit, it was right after two of the residents did take the time to work on the road. Some of their major concerns is the 911 response into the community. It takes as much as 5 minutes to travel a mile and a half to the very end of the road, where there is a business on New River Retreat, and there are community members that utilize the road down to that area. It also is a place where you can get onto the trail. So that is certainly a concern of the community. We are asking that we have DPDOT come in and raise the road and gravel it, and we will help maintain it, or whatever it is we need to do as county residents, as far as getting the road maintained. One of their other concerns is the property value, in this area has declined. I'm even wondering what the worth of our property is these days. We have probably 4 residents for sale in the area. Some of them have had to reduce the amount of what they want for their homes because of the road. So it has become a major concern. Recently, we had a realtor approach a number of us in the community wanting us to sign a road maintenance agreement so that the home could be sold. Now, as residents, some of us question that, and I do believe we did have a major property owner sign that, and that is the owners of the New River Retreat, and they are here with me today, and they may have something that they want to say in addition to what I have said.
Good morning.
Morning.
My wife and I own a couple of cabins down on the trail. So we're bringing a lot of people into Witt County. We get a lot of renters from the Washington D.C. area, Pennsylvania area. One of the things we're seeing is Southwest Virginia is really becoming an area for tourism. So we get a lot of outside people that come in, fall in love with the area, start looking for property. And when we redid these cabins, they used to be part of the old mining cabins. We rebuilt them, and we're getting pretty good rentals pretty much through May through October. One of the things we're seeing is the road going in is it's just getting worse and worse. There's one big long slope hill that's kind of got some blacktop on it. It's all eaten up, and quite frankly, it's now becoming kind of a hazard. If it rains, it freaks people out. Sometimes we have to go down there and get people out of there. We maintain the road off Rocky River Road going to the cabins. That's probably about half a mile. It's pretty steep, but we do a good job of taking care of that. But that on top of the main road coming in, it's just too much of a financial burden for us to continue to maintain it. So we're looking for some help from VDOT or the county.
May I ask a question? Is this a publicly maintained road? I mean, is it a VDOT road or is it a private road?
Private.
I have a question. On your rentals, what kind of annual transient tax do you collect on those?
Debbie?
It's a total of 10%, part to the state, part to the county. So we're paying county of Woodville, and I apologize, my bookkeeper has taken care of our taxes for the last 5 years, but I think it's 5% that we collect for the county on the taxes.
See, right away, I can tell you mowed grass.
How's the maintenance
Okay.
How far back in are you wanting to go with that, all the way to the depot? I've been out of the other day, but no, I haven't been in there, it's quite a ways back in there.
Yeah, not down to the trail, but the main road that goes in. Some of the roads coming off Rocky River aren't as bad, but it's the main road that everybody comes in. And I would say that's about a mile.
It's a mile and a half to New River Retreat.
But obviously, we'd like the road to go right into our entrance, but we take care of it coming down.
Bertha Farms turns into Rocky Road 1 mile after you enter Bertha Farms Road off of Foster Falls Road.
Well, Dalton there, he had me down there, I think he must have played Cowboys and Indians down in there when he was a boy. I ain't never been in there before. I feel like I'd like to have me a place back in there.
I have one for sale.
One of the things, I helped get a closing done, and the realtor said, listen, those roads have gotten so bad, and it is hurting the property value, and the banks now, with the restrictions banks are putting on it, you know, they want to see some kind of road maintenance, but they're basically saying that you won't get a realtor to sell anything in there if this doesn't get resolved. And I do think we have 4 or 5 places for sale in there, and they're not, obviously they're in a tough time, but.
Mr. Chairman, is the citizens on that road willing to do something to fix the road? I mean, to cooperate, you know, as far as a tax increase for a few years to pay for bringing the road up to state maintained specs?
There's a revenue sharing program. You know, the problem is, as Mr. Reeves is kind of pointing out, you know, governmental agencies, whether it's county or state, you don't maintain, you know, private roads, which is what you have. But there is a way to do that. And I think Mr. Dalton or Mr. Bear, if one of you all could explain what that process is, just to see if it's something that they're interested in.
Yeah, and I actually met Ms. Edwards last week. She's on the Mountain Cap board and was talking about this. We'll talk a little bit about it. But basically, it is a 50-foot public right-of-way. The subdivision is old enough to be eligible to qualify for the VDOT revenue sharing program. And basically, that opportunity is we would make application from the county to VDOT to apply for revenue sharing. VDOT would provide half of the funds, the residents have to provide the other half of the funds. There are 2 routes that can be used to obtain that funds. One is the residents just raise all that money on their own and submit that to the county to go to VDOT. Or number 2, we have done this on 6 other roads similar to yours in the county. We have done transportation districts where the residents petition the board to create a tax district for a period of 7 years, where they pay additional taxes over those 7 years to pay their share of the revenue sharing costs. We could talk with VDOT about estimates of what it would cost to do that. There are a couple concerns. That steep area that you're talking about, Mr. Dalton may know, I don't know that could meet VDOT's requirements through there.
More than likely, VDOT can take it back to a little part of Rocky Road. But when Rocky Road, where there's the switchback, that doesn't meet any kind of standards on steepness nor curvature. I can imagine when that blade gets slipped, that it's an adventure going down and an adventure coming out. I said Mr. McRoberts back around what I call the original way that came down by the old depot and out to the trailer that's next to your tube.
Right.
So that's how many years ago that I used to go down there fishing all the time when I was a young man. And on the river when Mr. Nestor on that property. I think the right way to do it now is come out as far Bertha Farms and Rocky Road, and that gets the most people. And the method Mr. Baird is doing, he is well versed in how to make it happen with y'all's assistance.
Yeah, I would need to work with you. The first thing I did was I sort of highlighted the property owners of everyone that signed the thing, and what it did. Some of you are off of, I think, Temple Hill, and some are off of Glenwood Hollow, and some are off of Bertha Farm. So we would need to identify exactly which roads we would want to be bringing up to state standards, and then establish what that district is going to be and who all would benefit from using that road. The entire length of road going all the way to the very end of Bertha Farms, which I think part of that's not even really developed into much of a road, is almost 3 miles. And ballpark figures, and this I have not spoken with VDOT yet, ballpark figures is probably close to $300,000 a mile is what it costs to do that. It could be $250,000 to $300,000. So if you did every road in there, you're $900,000 to $1 million. I just did a quick tax estimate off of that. If it was $1 million and VDOT put up half the money and a few other things, it would be an extremely high tax rate of about $2.05 per $100 of assessed value. Keep in mind, the county tax rate is 44 cents right now, so you're greater than 4 times the county tax rate to do all the roads. But if you look at only doing Bertha Farms back to Rocky or something like that, you know, you're down to a smaller amount. And we would need to get actual estimates from VDOT to do that. I'm not trying to scare you with high estimates, but we've done 6 or 7 of these roads, and that's some, $250,000, 4 or 5 years ago was the range they were doing these roads in. So, if Ms. Edwards is the person I need to work with, I'll be glad to sort of coordinate with you and with VDOT, and we can at least look at it from that avenue.
Is a tax assessment, is that something that everyone legally would we have to vote on it as a group, or?
In order for the board, what you all would have to do would be petition the board to create this assessment. And the state law requires that of the district we established, that you all obtain more than 50% of the landowners who represent more than 50% of the property. So if you all are able to successfully get that petition, then you can request the board to create that tax district. And I'll be glad to share all that information and details and work through that with you.
Well, Ms. Edwards, would that, and the group, would that be acceptable for you to work with Mr. Banner to look at all the options?
Yes, sir, that would certainly be appreciated. I would like to say, though, I don't know if this would make a difference, but more than half of the residents are low income, and they are probably going to oppose any tax increases. I mean, they can't afford it, and even myself, I look at how much that would be as adding to my taxes, and most of the residents have even asked me, what do our current tax dollars do if we are not getting any sort of help with our roads? We do not have any sort of county water. Our 911 response time is compromised by all means, and so we feel like we're just kind of left hanging as a community.
Well, certainly, the one thing I would like to explain is that whether, your road or if it's a state-maintained road or whatever, any of the tax money, the county tax money that you pay, unless it's a transportation district, the county does not maintain nor take care of any roads. I found when I came on the board that was a common misconception, that a lot of people thought that the county, maintained roads, and we don't, and we sometimes struggle working with VDOT, as local citizens do. But if it's acceptable to meet with Mr. Barrett, just to go over that, and you may come to something that you feel like you can do, and if you can't, maybe you can come back and we can talk about it again and see. But I think that this would be the best starting point if that's possible. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Dalton, since you know that area, and I've been in Dartmouth ever since this conversation started, maybe before, does this roadway, this public road, come all the way to the trail?
Actually, the travel way, the travel way goes to the trail. Unfortunately, it's not a deed right. The route that I took Mr. Roberts to went down to the old Barron Springs train depot, does go to the trail, per se. Rocky Road ends prior to the trail, and 2 lots, rather. They built a road all through there, but it's not a deed of right of way that I can tell.
The reason I ask that question, and wouldn't want to get those folks' hope up, but there seems to be some money coming down the pipe for the trail. And if that gives better access to the trail or an additional access to the trail, is there any possibility of getting a grant from the Department of Natural Resources for the trail to help offset that cost.
Are you talking about the recreational access?
Yeah, recreational access, used to be federal highway dollars under forest and recreation. I don't know whether that dried up or not.
I guess what I would say in that, there probably is an opportunity, but there has to be what I'm gonna call open access to some area down there, either the river, the trail, area on the, common area on the river that people could use to launch a boat, et cetera. Currently, we turned around right into basically the front porch of the camp.
DGIF has money in the pipeline now for new and improved river access, and that money ought to be available this year. If we could utilize, manipulate, or influence that money to get as much of it for trail and river improvement in Witt County, I think that's economic development. And as you know, I think the river is the biggest asset this county's got, and we haven't utilized it. But more access will bring more tourist dollars. We've got to have more business over there to pick those dollars. There's not any opportunity on that part of the river that I know of for people spending money. Is that right?
We've got the canoe livery, there's a few things down here, but not.
But if they go on through, they would come out down Barron Springs at the store, is that right? Is it on this side of the river or the other side of the river?
On the other side.
Okay. So the Lone Ash Road will eventually get them down to, Barron Springs. Yeah. So, the reason I brought that up, is those two sources, maybe Mr. Bear could poke around, and look at, maybe get some help with those. It might take a little bit more action with the trail people, but, as you know, they have a long-range plan, and hopefully it's gonna be developed with funding.
Well, the old Barron Springs Depot down here is one that, it's in disrepair, but it's one of the few remaining depots that still stands along the track.
Whose property is that, state's or the railroad?
I assume it's privately owned right now.
Isn't it? I'll tell you one thing, it's really nice down there.
Well, it's a place on the river that very few can get to, or know about how to get there.
I don't know what you're talking about either.
Go past Foster Falls.
You go in there and take a four-wheel drive.
Okay, any other discussion about that? So you're asking Mr. Barrett to look into those
Two sources of funding.
Okay. All right, then we're down to committee reports. The first committee is the Budget Committee, and I'm the chair of that. It's April 18th, 2012 meeting. The Budget Committee made the following recommendations. One, to accept the Burn Justice Assistance Grant and to amend and appropriate $176 from the Police Activity Fund for the required local match. Sheriff talked about that just a little bit. It's not a lot of money, as he said, but the grant is actually $1,580 with our local match of $176, which means that the total grant would be $1,756. So we'll get, basically, $1,756 for $176. So that comes from the Budget Committee and needs no second. We will take a roll call vote. Mr. Hall? Aye. Aye. 6-0, 1 absent. Second thing was to accept the Virginia Department of Emergency Management grant in the amount of $28,000 for emergency shelter enhancements, and that requires no local match. It's just a grant, and again, it needs no second. Is there any discussion on it? If not, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Horning? Aye. Aye, and that passes 6-0 with one absent. Number 3, to set an hourly rate of $13 for Board of Equalization members, and as I understand it, this does not change the pay, or doesn't increase or decrease the pay. It just takes it from a daily rate to an hourly rate, instead of having to pay like half a day or all day. If it's a session for, for 2 hours, and we pay for 2 hours instead of half a day. So again, coming from the committee, it needs no second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Hall? Aye. Again, passes 6 to nothing with one absent. Next, we come to the county administrator's report. Okay. We'll move on to the county attorney report.
I have no items today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, then we will move on to new business. The first new business is the consent calendar.
I make a motion, we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Horning? Aye. 6-0 with one absent. The next item of business we had taken care of just a little bit earlier, and that was the Bertha Farms Rocky Road. So we are now down to Wood County erosion and sediment control ordinance. And Mr. Dalton, if you would, I'd like to ask you to kind of elaborate on that for us a little bit.
Several months ago, the county and all the surrounding communities went through a periodic review of the erosion and sediment control ordinance laws and how we were implementing those. Actually, based on all our surrounding places, we turned out very well. However, DCR has noted that we're not in compliance with several aspects of the current Virginia law that we need to amend. Those, they will work with us, get the new ordinance prepared. What you have today is I'm going to call it consent order that we need to agree to and send back to them. We're going to change it, hold the appropriate public hearings, and do the corrective action plan as they've recommended.
Okay, is there a motion that we approve this corrective action plan that we've been given? This puts us in, with these corrective actions, it puts us in compliance with the Department of Conservation and Recreation.
This will start the process.
But we'll end up having to write it or
Redoing the ordinance.
redoing an ordinance. But right now, our action is that we,
They've asked that on the page, bottom of page 114.
114.
It says this corrective action agreement shall be signed by the Witt County owner before 4/29/2012.
Okay.
A written report on the task form document progress on the corrective action item was provided to DCR Advocate on June 29th. If we sign this today, if you're authorized to sign this today, we will have revisions by June 29th, and the final plan has to be complete by 9/29.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize Mr. Dalton to sign this.
I'll second. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we authorize Mr. Dalton, our county administrator, to sign the corrective action agreement before April the 29th and send it in. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Dalton, is there anything in this corrective action plan that exceeds the current state manual on sedimentation?
No. However, on July the 1st, everybody been watching the assembly, on July the 1st of 2012, the law will go into effect that every county and every locality in the state of Virginia that implements erosion sediment control will also implement the stormwater management guidelines as laid out by the state of Virginia, including collection of the fees, which will be the most onerous fee collection that ever happened in the county. Fees ranging from the hundreds of dollars just to build a house to tens of thousands of dollars to do a major development. But I don't see that there, since that has been passed, it's been signed by the governor, that's going to be implemented. Is it a good thing from our viewpoint? From my viewpoint, no. Because it makes us the enforcers of state law and taking over state responsibilities that we should never be burdened.
And because it went through the legislative process and the governor signed it, we don't have an option whether we're going to adopt it or not. Is that correct?
That's exactly.
So we're a victim again. I really think people ought to understand what that means and not hit the private citizen with the process that we've known about for some time. I agree, people are not aware of what this is going to do to them.
To get a stormwater permit, the county has been burdened with being an enforcement agent